you want me to answer ahead of time, you can just email me those and I can address that on the call. Okay, so let's talk about how to set up a listing and kind of the big differences between Airbnb and Furnished Finder. People are entering these markets, I think, with two different ideas in mind, or they're just kind of set up differently. If as a tenant, you're going in looking for a 30-day rental, the assumption is that anybody that has a short-term rental will allow you to do that 30-day rental, but you're not sure if they're going to give you a discount or if they're set up for you to work remotely or what the price is going to be for the extended. So they're going in and they're seeing a lot of properties that are describing themselves as charming or gorgeous, but not necessarily giving them information about location, Wi-Fi speed, the things that, people that are going to be there for a little bit longer care about. Now, Furnished Finder, when people are searching there, the assumption is that it's 30 plus days or longer. I bring this up because it's important, because you're going to set up your headline and your listing differently for these two different sites, because the tenant is entering the site with different motivations, or not different motivations, they have the same motivation, but they're entering with different thoughts, and your competition is talking about things differently as well, or their headlines should be set up differently for their client pool, for their tenant pool. So quickly, just as a reminder, Airbnb is going to charge you 3% for the total stay, and then your tenant is also going to get charged on the back end. But as the host and listing, you're going to get 3% taken out by Airbnb. Furnished Finder is just $99 annually, and you don't do the lease through it or anything. You don't have insurance through them. Furnished Finder just acts as a marketplace to bring the two together, whereas Airbnb acts as that marketplace, but they also do the lease, and they do the lease there and everything else. Airbnb also is a lot more competitive. I was just running a local search, and it looked like for different size properties, there was anywhere between 100 to 150 more on Airbnb. So you had that number of competition regardless of the size of the property until you get to like 4+ bedrooms. And then Furnished Finder, you have less competition, less pressure to do reviews, to give reviews, to communicate all the time. In some ways, this is why I really prefer Furnished Finder, is because it's an easier experience. You have less competition, so you can really stand out. If you have great photos, if it's written well, you have all the information. Your competition is not necessarily, well, first of all, there's not as much volume in competition, but also they might not be thinking as strategically about it as the people on Airbnb. So in that way, it's a really good place to be, because you can really stand out. Okay, for both marketplaces, whether it's Furnished Finder or Airbnb or some other marketplace that I'm not mentioning, the number one rule here is professional photos. Now, I know I've said this a million times. I'm sure other medium-term experts in this space also talk about it, but I just can't emphasize this enough. A lot of people certainly think that they could take photos on their iPhone, or that they have a friend that's really good at photography, but I just think for your return on investment, it makes sense to get professional photos, and it does not make sense to not get professional photos. This is a dating website for your property, so you really want it to look as attractive as possible, to be featuring items, and a professional can come in and kind of move around the furniture so that it looks the best. They will use filters to make it look its most attractive. We use one that's a little bit more on the inexpensive end, and it's $100 for like 10 photos, and then it increases in price depending on how sophisticated you want it or how many photos you want. And you're going to be looking for people that do real estate photos. So you would be putting in the same search that a listing agent would be putting in, like, I need somebody to do professional photos for me for real estate. That's basically the search you're going to do, and then you're going to check out how their websites look, how the photos on their website look, and then decide which one you think is the best reflection of your property, etc. That's what you want to go for, because again, a lot of your tenant base is probably younger if they're doing 30+ day furnished. I really think it's the 20 to 30 range, because late 20s to late 30s, because these people have money, they're established in their careers, they probably don't have kids yet, so they are probably the ones that have the most flexibility. And then on the back end, you might have some seniors that are more interested in traveling and have that flexibility and have that money. So it kind of just depends on which audience you think would be better for your market, and also which audience you feel more comfortable with. The landlord for the group that you identify best with, and that you can speak to the things that they care about most and that would be most interesting to them. When I'm putting up, my medium-term rents, I'm thinking about the things that I really like in my property and speaking to that. Do a checklist before you even write your listing. And in that checklist, you should talk about proximity to, you should jot down for yourself proximity to hospitals, proximity to colleges, proximity to big employers like Amazon would be one, or if there's really heavy industries in your area, write down your proximity to that. Second checklist should be what you like specifically about the neighborhood. Do you like that it's quiet? Do you like that it's close to a park? Do you like that it's close to a dog park? Do you like that it's close to a playground? Do you like the restaurants that are nearby? Is there an indie film area nearby? Just whatever really appeals to you and has made it a cool place to live, or that you're getting feedback either from when you live there or your tenants live there, or part of the reason why you decided to purchase that place. Document all of those. Document inside what you think would be useful for your tenants to know. So Wi-Fi speed. Do you have a second screen? I really recommend this because, again, 25% of white collar workers, they estimate by the end of 2022, will be fully remote. White collar workers are really your key base here, and they use second screens. Traveling nurses might not as much, but it's certainly not going to work against you to have a second screen. And it's a really small investment, just like professional photos. It's not a big deal. And I think you can put in Wi-Fi and second screen and people will like that. Orlando, is there a pool? Is there a gym? Do you have parking on site? Basically, again, just all the things that you really like that you think might appeal to someone else. Write that out in a checklist with the plan that this is how you're going to build out your listing. Let's get to the headline because I think this is really important and is something that I've been noticing a lot. A lot of people seem to have adopted the mentality around the photos, but they haven't adopted a mentality around how to strategically use the headline. So I see tons of headlines that say charming bungalow, gorgeous house, cutesy art den, etc. First off, these terms are subjective, so someone else might not feel that way about it. Also, it's not really helpful. I mean, the photos for your listing should reflect all of this, and they will reflect all of this way more than that descriptor will. So people are going to rely on that photo. They're not relying on your description of it, and it's a generic thing. It doesn't say very much about what your property is, where it's located, how it's different from other properties. So I really recommend stripping out words like that are just generic descriptors. So modern, artsy, gorgeous, cute, charming, things like that. It's actually not that helpful. And what I do recommend is being more specific in your listing. 1 mile from the heart of downtown, walking distance to downtown, in the heart of specific neighborhoods that are really popular, that are going to be popular. Wi-Fi and second screen. So saying Wi-Fi speeds and that we have second screens, office friendly, professional friendly, pet friendly, pool available, AC on site, parking on site. The competition is kind of there, and they're saying charming, cutesy bungalow, etc. If you put in 30+ stay furnished rental, that also will stand out to them because they're thinking like, this person is thinking about it. Or if you have a discount for 30+ stay rentals, maybe put 10% discount for longer stays. Advertising to the fact that you want people that are coming in for longer. Which brings me to my next point. So this is going to be different between Airbnb and Furnished Finder. And Airbnb is a site for shorter stays, but more and more it's becoming popular with medium-term renters. If you come in as a tenant on Airbnb, you might be thinking like, again, you're seeing all these listings that, they're really short-term rentals, but they're allowing you to rent for 30+ days, which is good for them. It's less cleaning, less work, etc. Sometimes discounts are provided for that and sometimes not. But the way that they're speaking and the way the majority of your competition's headline is written is as an advertisement to the short-term stays. It's not an advertisement to the long-term stays. So the way that you can really differentiate yourself again is to put right in there like, this is for medium-term rentals, or this is for a 30+ day furnished stay, or this is set up for staycations, or, you know, there's all these different terms around it, like bleisure, slow mads, etc. These are terms for people that are actually vacationing for 30 plus days and working at the same time. So you can put that in the headline and it's going to make you stand out a little bit. And then again, just kind of the highlights of your property, you want to really think about that. Whereas Furnished Finder, it's the same thing. We want to take out those generic terms, gorgeous, cute, charming, get rid of that. But your tenant pool there is coming in with the assumption that it's 30 plus days. It's not a short-term rental site, it's a long-term rental site. So there, again, you want to be more specific. You're not talking about the language of 30 plus day furnished rentals, which is something that you might emphasize in Airbnb. You're talking much more about your proximity to a hospital, proximity to a college, your Wi-Fi speed, your second screen, your pet friendliness, etc. And with all of this, let me say, I really recommend being pet friendly. I don't know if this is still true, but when I was writing the book in 2020, a stat I pulled said that only 3% of Airbnbs were pet friendly. So if you put that in your headline, you are absolutely going to be different than your competition. And yes, there are filters for it, but I think, again, just having it stated right there will be really appealing to people, especially if you have a fence or you're close to a dog park. All right, and then finally, the body. Sometimes I'll see listings and people will really bury like the super important stuff at the bottom. Again, I would not, you know, make the first paragraph setting the scene. I would put like the really critical information in that first paragraph. So if you have 2 or 3 things that you're thinking maybe should be in the headline to put you apart, so whether it's pet friendly or AC or pool on site, and you can't fit it all in the headline, whatever else you were thinking about should be in that first paragraph. Just make it as easy as possible for them to find the information and to like your property. All right, I hope that that was helpful. I'm just seeing a lot in different Airbnb and Furnished Finder listings that I'm seeing, and I just think the competition, you could really knock it out or reduce it or help people want to email you or get in front of you by really advertising that you offer specific things and making the most out of the headline and the first paragraph to do that, as well as professional photos. Okay, again, hope this was helpful. We have a podcast website. We are active real estate agents if you're looking for that. We have the book. I love a like and subscribe, all of it. I think you've heard it before, but thank you for your time and attention, and hope you have a good week.